0. Okay, we have the board meeting. I feel special. They sent it to me. And they're still not really publishing this anywhere for some unknown reason. Guess they don't want anybody to see it, but they don't care if I see it because, like I said in a previous video, I have no status, so it doesn't matter what I'm doing, which is good, believe me. I don't want to be part of the fucking discussion. Leave me out in the side. That's what I want to be. I want to be I don't want to be part of the mainstream narrative here. I want to be outside of it. All right, now we got to Dougie's.
To make testimony to us, to submit it in writing by.
Wait a minute. Okay, well.
There can be problems with any of the.
Oh wait, they've improved it.
But it shouldn't be something that happens on a regular.
Wait, let's go. We were at the general manager's report. What did they do? They changed it.
It comes from payroll taxes, and so.
Wait a minute.
The potential decrease in employment in the region.
What is this?
State,
Is this?
Clearly, that's going to.
So wait, hold on a minute.
Yesterday, and I wanted to let everybody know that we did receive 29 written comments, testimony from folks.
Come on.
And most of the.
Is this the god? All right.
As we look to respond to the financial challenges that are now being thrust upon us as an agency, as a group of leaders. And so this is leading to our team, at every level, having to look at many different things as we begin to adjust. And again, the complexity and the.
Oh, yeah, we were listening to him. Okay, we were at Dougie's report, which was around 30.
To look at it through.
I don't want to hear him talking about it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the next meeting where we're going to get
Yeah,
feedback.
Shut up. All right, where's Doug?
On agenda number 2, the general manager's report.
Here we go.
Mr. General Manager.
Here we go. Let's hear
Thank
it.
you, Mr. President, members of the board. I think Director Stovall.
Notice how they changed the presentation here? They changed it so I can't see them anymore. I always love you, TRIMET, man. What would I do without you? You've become my main hobby here.
Started off with a really important update. I'll continue on with that, if I may, around COVID-19, or refer to as C-19 for ease of speaking terms. Secondly, while we manage the current challenges and the importance of that, we'll also look back at last month's ridership. While we're in this,
we don't care about last month's ridership.
There's an immense amount of work that's gone into that, and yes, that will have to be updated and abridged and tied to our financial plan as well. So I'll give you a quick update on that, and then I'm going to ask Sam DeSue, our Chief Operating Officer, to give you a quick update on the looking back, if you will, the last performance for the quarter. So, but first, in terms of the C-19 or COVID-19. I think we all know this. We're all involved. Our hearts go out to everybody. We're all impacted. There's nobody probably on the planet who's not. I think our staff all knows these are really difficult and trying times for everybody in TRIMET, as well as the communities that we all serve. So this ghost virus is impacting everything that we are involved with. So this is a very sensitive time. It's a very dynamic and fluid time as well. And even by reference, literally things are changing hour by hour. And literally since the Finance and Audit Committee just before that, just over an hour ago.
I can imagine how much fun he's having right now. I don't know what he's doing, but it can't be much. It's just great to be sitting here watching this and not being part of it. I mean, I can't imagine what the hell's going on over there, but it's fucking chaos. It's got to be chaos. Oh my heavens, it's chaos on a regular day, but now everything's upside down.
The federal government is coming out with $25 billion as part of their stimulus package allocated towards transit.
Yeah, it's like nothing. I mean, they just gave $3 trillion to the banks, and they're going to give $25 billion to all of the various transit districts. They should just give TriMet and every other fucking transit district their complete budget. Okay, what's TriMet's budget totally? 1.1 billion? They should just give them that amount of money. Okay, they have it. Okay, they're giving it to the banks. Here, TriMet, take 1.1 billion. You can move forward on everything. Nothing will change. Everybody will get paid. All the projects will keep going. But no, they're not going to do that, are they? No. Now, see, if we were part of the military, it would be unlimited funding, but we're something that actually helps people. And when it comes to helping people, our beloved government does not do that. That's what people got to get through your heads. The government will never help you. Do never count on them. They steal from you. They don't help you. I mean, they could bail out the TriMet budget right now. Here's $1 billion, nothing to it. But they're not going to do it. What do they give TriMet? $250 million or something, which ain't going to really help anything. I mean, it can make it fare free, but, TriMet's going to want to keep all those executives and all those other people that are over there that have nothing to do with transit. And they're higher up the food chain than the drivers and the riders.
We don't know what that fully means, so we're literally unpacking that in the hours and days ahead to factor that into the impact on this organization for the foreseeable future.
Now let's remember that Doug won't be affected. His pay is high and it's going to stay high. Okay, he won't be affected. It's like McFarland wasn't affected during the so-called Great Recession, which I always said was a joke. He actually got a raise during that. We all got cuts and he got a raise. So these technocrats don't lose anything during all of this.
Future. So literally that is another example of every day, every hour is a new piece of information we're all trying to manage. Let's hope it passes and we'll unbundle it. One signal that we have gotten is that there is not a matching element to it. If the federal government, for example, gives us X percent, then we must come up with Y percent. So that is a very encouraging element. Again, we don't know how it's being targeted and unbundled, but we will keep everybody apprised as this literally unfolds over the next number of hours and days. Overall, we've been very connected in to the health authorities and the advice of the health authorities. Dr. Vines from Multnomah County, we are part of OHA, the Oregon Health Authority structure, and we are, I think folks need to know, we are every day having conversations with them, if not once a day, multiple times a day, to take advice and guidance from the experts, knowing that we are not the experts on the health side of this. So just wanted to share that with the board as well. In terms of ridership, I think we all know, and for those of us, myself included, who've taken the system or users of the system, typically on a daily basis, the ridership level, the buses and the trains are not running very full right now. About a week ago, and we're using rear view mirror, looking at the rear view mirror backing statistics, and I think they're even more accentuated now. You will see probably ridership has been cut in half and or more.
More than that.
Compared to your average day in February. If you look at Lyft is down approximately 80%.
Yeah.
You can see West is down well over 50%. Our bus and rail networks, being MAX and the conventional bus system, which is all integrated, we're seeing numbers of anywhere 60, 70 plus, in some days 80% down in numbers. So there's no question whether it be Portland Streetcar down about those same numbers.
Yeah.
Ride Connection, who we're a significant partner with, everybody's down. I think they were down about 60% last week. So
that's all
in all, these are not adjustments. These are structural changes in who's using the system. The governor's order on Monday to stay home as we are probably likely all seeing, as evidenced by this call today, and hopefully many people listening in from their homes, is going to continue to further reduce ridership for the next number of weeks. And we hope that it is only a short period of time. But part of our services, we are basically essential service. And so we will be continuing to provide service to the absolute degree possible to get people who are, in essential responders.
Let me just pause it there so you can see this. The YouTube counters are wrong. I think most people that use YouTube know the counters are wrong. So you can see the actual people that are clicking on the videos. It's about normal, you know. I get somewhere between 20 and 60. It's all very small time stuff. They're 40. It's about 40 to 50 people that are actually interested in this material, which is pretty small. I mean, when you're talking about a million and a half people in the Portland area, but who would be interested in it? It's not. This is the last thing on people's minds is what's going on at TRIMET. Nobody's thinking about it. It's a very small group of people that are interested in this material. All right, back to Dougie.
Responders of fire, police, ambulance, critical care workers, and others that are for sure have excluded to get them where they need to go in a reasonable period of time. And we also recognize for sure, I mean, transit for some is the only option. They don't have the privilege of alternative forms of transportation. So we're taking this extremely serious. We're trying to move as fast as a complex and large organization can, knowing that each decision has micro impacts in sometimes. So we're trying to understand and move this in a fast-moving environment. I will comment that we are very close contact with our local, state, and national health authorities, and also officials from the elected side. I've had discussions with from all combined chairs of the 3 counties here, to the Port of Portland directly, to Mayor Wheeler, to congressmen, senators, and such. So we're in the governor's office as well directly. So we're trying to stay very connected in as much as possible and share information based on what we know in this dynamic environment. So then in terms of our internal staff, look, we know as an essential service, we're doing everything we possibly can to ensure the safety of the riders and our employees. Taking the advice of Dr. Vines and the Oregon Health Authority.
Now, as I said in the other video, they should have been masked up immediately. Everybody should have been masked up and we could have avoided this whole fucking thing. But this is the land of the free where you're free to die on your own.
Some of our circumstances are unique. I really want to call out, actually before I move to the next point is, I do want to mention that the health officer has specifically said to us, the risk for bus operators is low due to bus doors opening often.
Sure.
Very limited contact with the public direct.
Oh yeah, you believe that. Yeah, right. Statistically, who knows what the risk is? We know that there's over 100 drivers out sick. They say there's only one COVID, but they're not testing for COVID. So you don't really know how many COVID there are because it's not really, people aren't tested for it and most people recover. So you can't really tell.
But we are using about 50% of our bus network has bus shields. They're actually the safety shields they can slide. You've probably seen those. We're optimizing those whenever we possibly can as tools in the toolbox. It was not what we originally intended to be using them for, but boy, we need to be using them as much as possible.
What?
What do you think? Continue to work with hand sanitizer suppliers, which we couldn't get even just a few weeks ago, which we have small bottles in, about 4,000 in now. I think there's 600 gallons that are due in. Actually, I think it's today, if I recall, which will help us for the next number of weeks. So what we take is small items are actually really significant. So for our frontline staff, and I also really want to call out our cleaners who are out there and on the system trying to help our operators and our mechanics and others accessible to the system as well. It also, I can't ignore, many people won't see what's actually going on behind the scenes. Our teams have been burning the midnight oil from IT to safety to security to the control rooms that we have. We always take these things for granted, to planning, to engineering, to others. So no one is exempt from the contributions they're making, and they are significant, really significant. So to you as the board, to the public, to our bus operators, our train operators, our frontline staff, people do need to know how hard people are working behind the scenes to support the frontline success. We have also implemented additional cleaning measures on our buses and trains. That includes disinfecting all the touch points nightly. And in some cases, some of the buses are getting cleaned twice in a day. That includes the operator areas as well as the poles, the doors, and other service that people will hold on to while riding. In fact, I have authorized on the weekend, we're bringing in 6 ultraviolet light test wands, if you will, that are reportedly, we will see, to eliminate 99.9% of all bacteria on our vehicles. So we're trying to pilot things even in the back room that we don't know are successful. And frankly, in some of these examples, we're prepared to fail to try and help to continue to help support the health of our vehicles and the continuity of our vehicles for our operators and for our valued customers. Again, we're wiping down all our touch points on our system, including the MAX stations, the elevators, with disinfectant every single day. And as you know, the system is very, very fluid, this environment right now, and literally changed by the hours, and even some of our practices. For example, the guidance we'd received of a minimum 3-foot range, and ideally 6 feet, is now evolving to a 6.
I never heard that it was, let me turn this on high full screen. I never heard that the 3-foot, I never heard that anywhere but at TRIMET. That was a TRIMET thing. I never saw 3 feet anywhere but, there's a picture. Okay, it's me that had it wrong. I didn't expand the screen.
The consultation, so that was literally about 24
I thought they changed the format, but
so
that's me.
Working on what that means for
Look
us.
at Travis's face. Can you see it?
And so particularly where people are exposed, what we've been told is just for a very brief time is not a risk of any significance to our staff. So again, this continues to evolve with the help of the Oregon Health Authority. We are also developing plans for various levels of service, and particularly if illness occurs. The statistics are alarming around the world. We only have to look to New York, and what we're seeing is an uptick here. Well, and that impacts us here inside our ability to serve the organization as well. So we are monitoring the illness, and if our service levels are impacted, that will be one of the variables we will have to consider. And I'm not referring to just us operators, which are very important, or train operators. This is also mechanics who have to fix signals and such. The control room, I can go down a long list of people who are part of this essential service orchestra every single day. So there's literally, we have over 3,000, about 3,300 employees here, and we are very much a hands-on deck approach to the daily service that goes on. So we'll have to watch this very closely in particularly the weeks ahead. It also means, as has been referred to by Director Stoll in particular, that we will have to take a hard look at the budget and to account for lost revenue. I'm doing that right now, including significant overtime to sustain the level of cleaning required, as an example. If that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do. So we're looking at all elements of our business, including consulting, things of that nature, as to help balance our financial oxygen it needs to continue to provide the importance of the service that we all have. We also know there's a lot less people out there on the system. So I anticipate that we will be downsizing some of our service out there, as others have been doing as well. And I'll be bringing that forward once I know more. There's parts we do know, but this is a complex puzzle that we literally don't have all the answers yet, but hope to over the next number of hours and days. I do know that this disease is hard on everybody, but there's no question we're going to get through this. It will.
Well, you will at least.
I do want to thank the staff again.
You're not
I
exposed.
know I'm doubling down on that. I just can't tell you how many hours people are working behind the scenes here right now to try and help people who need us. I think the situation's fluid. I will continue to communicate.
All right. Well, he doesn't really have any information for us
and
here.
the public, and to address even some of the points that Director Gonzalez had raised. Impacts to the agency. Yes, we're already sizing down the paratransit service lift because the ridership is down by 80%. So those we're dropping.
Layoffs.
And we'll also need to be able to be flexible to size accordingly. Because at some point, there's going to be an uplift too. So nimbleness, I think, with a complex organization like ours is very foundational. As I look at the agency, I am looking at a number of months out, not just for the day, the week, but a number of months out until more clarity is known, either in the employment side,
What time is it? 3 o'clock.
the financial, also these things translated to the financial impacts on the organization. But we need to balance that with equity. We need to balance that with our operators' ability to be available in service. We're also trying to balance ingredients like social spacing, where so some people need to get to a hospital. We don't want social spacing to be that sole impact while they could get there if they need to get there using public transportation. So we're factoring many variables, and yes, including financial, which is a key part of our oxygen about our ability to deliver. So it is fast, it is complex, and there are people involved here. And so
yeah, no kidding.
And so we're trying to manage this for
All
our
right,
customers
get to the point,
as well as
Dougie.
internally in the
We
organization.
don't have to go on and on and on
Most
about
humane
it.
way possible. So with that, I know there were maybe some questions on this, but I'd be happy to try and answer that. Any questions you might have at this time.
Yes, Chairman Warner, I have a question of the General Manager. You touched on the fact that there will be a lag, so to speak, after we get through this, and that lag is going to have to deal with the finance as well as dealing with the public, because I'm sure even after we come to this date where we think that everything is safe and secure, we're going to be behind that curve. And so that's going to be a challenge as well. Do you have any idea what that looks like? Is it 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days? What is that going to, do you have?
Well, yeah, I whatever I say, I know I'm going to be wrong.
Yeah, I'm worried about that.
I am trying to take a 6-month lens window right now for planning purposes. But for example, we don't know, I don't think anybody in the world knows the impact right now, what this
yes, we do
virus time frame is.
What do you mean we don't know? 30 million people are unemployed.
That's yet to play out. And then there's related, but interconnected to it is the economic piece. And what impact is that on employment, let alone revenues that come with as
it's going to be bad. You're going to lose. You're going to lose money. The majority
of our revenue piece is actually from employer payroll tax.
Right.
We typically don't.
I would imagine you're going to lose about a third of that. I mean, the whole service industry's gone. Plus, even your employer payroll tax is gone. I mean, government is the only thing functioning right now, I think, because they've got the unlimited cash, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I can imagine it must be bad out there.
The reporting, I think, is typically on a quarterly basis, so we won't know likely until June or July on what impacts that may have.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We also don't know, as I said earlier, what the federal stimulus program may look like. They may help bridge some of that. So there's a lot of ingredients getting through we don't know what that pathway looks like fully, getting through the immediate virus situation, let alone how deep or how the length of the economic impact recovery will look like. So as this becomes clearer, we will factor these into how we think we need to run the business. So, but at some point, there's going to be a recovery. Just right now.
No, there isn't, Dougie.
The speed of that, the sharpness of it upwards. So right now we're listening to any possible help we can get in that regard.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. But you did touch on most of it, but my question was that, for instance, if we're over this crisis by November 30th, TRIMET will not be. That's the point that I'm raising. Is that going to be December 31st, January 31st?
How's he supposed to know that?
28th for us.
How the hell is he supposed to know that? That's stupid, man.
Still being impacted and having to not be in a normal mode, but trying to get back to that normal mode. That was my question.
It's not going to be normal mode ever again.
Too vague or if
No.
that's something you can address.
He doesn't know.
I'm not. We
How's
will
he supposed to
recover
know?
as quickly as we can, and it may not be one size fits all. Where you turn it off. We're trying to look, as I said, on different lines and such like that.
Yeah, of course. How's he supposed
Part
to
of the
know that?
assumptions I'm making, which I did not share, which I should, is, and I've committed to to others on this, is that I want it to go as long as possible, keeping every bus line and every rail line going. Sizing down would come within each of those lines around frequency for impact. But the goal is to keep the network going and intact so people can connect as a principle, then overlaying those who may have more equity needs. There's agree that we can afford to do some of those who may need social distancing needs while the coronavirus. The speed of recovery will also be varied by how deeply we have been impacted. For example, we have a lag in a good way on the going down side. If we, many of my counterparts have sales tax driven agencies, and they're probably dropping very, very quickly. They typically would rise quicker, but also drop quicker. So in our case, we have three sort of primary revenue streams. The first one is what the users pay through HOP and the cash fare box. And that's about 18, 20% range, just for number's sake. Then we have about 60% of our revenue is employer payroll tax. And that is typically on a quarterly basis. So it will probably be, right now, we will benefit from it through this next quarter until we get next numbers. On the other side, on the uptake side, and that will be slower coming back on. So each of these revenue streams have to be looked at in isolation. And from that, we will aggregate our financial strength of ability to respond. So I think I can't give you a black and white answer to this because there are so many ingredients, including the different revenue streams, that we don't know what the speed of those, let alone where demand may be best served to bring the services back online in what order. So it will be a bit of a cocktail approach to managing the speed of it. But, it takes time, for example, as we came out of the 2008 recession, I was not here at this agency. I was at another one at the time. Other agencies took a while to actually bring some of those services back on. In fact, we're still bringing some of those services back on since 2008 here, where just this year, we actually reintroduced 24-hour service. So some will take, hopefully, weeks if things go well, and some may actually take months. And some may even take years, depending on the severity.
Thank you. Thank you
Some
very
may
much.
never come back.
Doug,
Yes,
can you hear me?
I can, yes.
This is Linda. I am now fully participating in the meeting.
Oh, good for you.
Excellent. Oh, excellent. Thank you.
That's nice, Linda.
Did you have a question
Simmons,
or comment, Director Simmons?
So I just wanted to make sure you knew I was finally present. I've been able to listen to the meeting and observe all of your reports. I just haven't been able to communicate.
Mr. General Manager, how are we doing? I think we're checking to see if there's any more questions. I don't see anybody with a hand raised. Are there other comments or questions by the board before Doug moves on, I think, with the next part of his presentation?
Hold this. I want to hear this. This is New York City
Thank you again to all of you who
president.
showing up every day.
What's he gonna
day
say
in,
here?
Day out. You are the reason that New York City is able to continue to fight this virus, continue to treat
Doing a
those
shitty
who
job.
continue to provide
Who is it?
health care and groceries and medications to the people who need it. If we were not showing up every day, moving the city forward, moving New York's essential workers, I do not think that New York could be battling this
It
virus.
only cost 42 people's
We are
lives.
all heroes.
Not yours, of
Everybody
course.
knows it. The governor has thanked
Yeah, they know
you,
it.
knows it.
It's like, thank you for your
Men and women
service.
of New York
A lot of
City
good
are
that does the
praising
dead
you.
person.
They're thanking you, as they should be. You are doing heroic, amazing work. I could not be more proud to be a part
Yeah,
of this
God.
team and to be a colleague of all of yours. I know that your grief and sadness is overwhelming. We have been devastated by this crisis. We have lost so many of our colleagues and our brothers and sisters and members of our New York City Transit family. I know all of you are mourning for them. You know their spouses, their siblings, their children, and their parents. They were your friends and your colleagues and your partners and your office mates. But you have my word that we're going to continue to do everything we possibly can to keep you safe. We've distributed
Sure you
millions
will.
of gloves, but we need to distribute more. We've distributed hundreds of thousands of masks. We need to distribute more. We've distributed thousands of gallons of hand sanitizer. More needs to go out. You have my word
Yeah, your
that as
word.
long as I am at New York City Transit, I will do everything I possibly can to keep you safe.
Was she a
during this
politician?
time and during all times. So I just want to thank you again.
Yes,
from the
thank
bottom
you,
of
thank
my
you,
heart.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Where's
for
Neil
your
Berlin?
service.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for your dedication to the public, to your city, to your state, to your brothers and sisters who need you, and to those who depend on you every day to get the care that they need. I promise you, the
Yeah.
public is grateful. Ignore the haters.
Yeah,
Ignore the media.
ignore the media.
Listen to the public. Listen to the rounds of applause that you're getting at 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Listen to the Manhattanville apartments cheering you on. Listen to your colleagues who are wishing you well and rooting for you. Listen to those of us who are saying, if it were not for you,
Yeah, right. Let me
we would not be able to fight this.
pause, turn that off, because New York City MTA actually threatened to terminate any operator who was wearing a mask. Okay. And so they are guilty of homicide. Okay. Well, no matter what she says, because they wouldn't even allow their employees to wear the mask when they had them themselves. That's homicide as far as I'm concerned.
I think Director Way has her hand up.
Okay, good.
I just don't know if you can see it.
Thank you. Yes, just one question that I had around this is the construction of, some of our, a lot of our different projects on the ground.
Okay.
Are we seeing,
What
are
are we
those
doing?
workers, those folks
What's
that we
happening?
get
Yeah.
contracts to,
Yeah.
are they still working out in the, on the ground and
Good
doing
question,
RC
Kathy.
projects, or is that also at a standstill, because of the social distancing or other factors?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question, Director Way. So I'm going through a process right now of reviewing our existing capital programs as it fits into how economically might we be impacted. I'm looking at them project by project. Projects like Division Transit Project, which Raywar Construction is doing a great job on, they have given us notice to take a pause for 2 weeks just recently. So my son-in-law is deeply in the construction trade, and coronavirus has actually impacted them. In fact, my own family are now away from us geographically, we think may be impacted with this. So as an example, even construction is all part.
So he's not in Canada, he's here somewhere. You never know with these guys.
Part of this as well, so it may be generated by them, or in terms of ourselves, this is also a positive economic engine. Construction for many jobs that we know. We're one of the largest.
I don't know how many actual jobs it is, but there's a lot of crony capitalism that goes on with this stuff, as everybody knows. The way that they funnel the money to the elites is via the capital projects. That's how the elites are able to get a hold of the money. I don't know about how this is funded or what they, this tax increase that they had, this HR 217, all of their projections for revenue are now out the window too. I mean, everything needs to be stopped, really. You need to reorganize everything at this point. All these projects have to just stop. Of course, they won't, because there's millions of dollars that are going through these industrial complexes. But it's obvious to me and anybody with a brain that everything needs to stop in terms of spending money on things that does not directly help with moving people around. And the capital projects does not help with direct services at all. All that money should go into making those trains run properly and those buses run. Hire as many mechanics as you can, as many drivers. Do whatever you got to do to keep service running and forget about the other stuff.
Issuers of construction work in the state. And we will look at this for the recasting of the budget and our projects. but Division Transit want to keep going on.
Yeah, of
I
course.
have a
Needs to
decision to
stop.
make on the Steel Bridge, which is over about a $20 million project, which shut us down for about a month on the steel bridges. So we're keeping as many going as we can, but I am trimming the consulting bill significantly.
Thank
so
God.
To minimize impacts on internal changes that have to happen.
Yeah.
And to minimize services. So there is a delicate.
The number one priority is services here. But we know what happens here. All of us that are old enough to understand the way this works is the elites are safe in their positions and the shit rolls downhill. So all the cuts come at the very bottom. And that's the public and the drivers. So they're at the very bottom of this pyramid.
Look at balance in this. One thing I can tell you, and I think hopefully my team, if you ever asked, would say this, the safety projects are not even in question. They must continue. And
what safety projects?
Regardless of the economy.
What safety? What's he talking about?
So whether it be rail crossing, pedestrian crossings, things of that nature. So a lot of our projects, if they're underway or almost complete, they need to complete that work. Division Transit is a big one, $175 million.
Yeah, but you might not have $175 million anymore. Do you understand this, Doug? Or did they take out I bet you they took out a bond, didn't they? That means they took out the bond. See, I've always been like, this is how criminal government operates. They take out a bond against future tax revenue. So now, oh my God, do you have any idea what's going to happen to this country soon? Everything is going to go upside down, man. Pensions are going to disappear. Bank accounts we're in big trouble. I don't even know what to do. I can't even get gold. You can't even get physical gold right now unless you want to pay $300 over spot.
The Powell Garage, which is about $150 million.
No.
Significantly underway.
No.
It's going to continue.
No.
So many of these projects will continue.
No. Yeah, see, I knew he was going to say this, of course, and that's really the wrong way to go, but I already knew this was going to be that way. Because number one thing for these people is capital projects, not service. Even though they pretend the service is the most important, but we know that that's not true.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I would like to come back, President Warner, just to one point that was raised around the pricing side, about price increases that some of the directors had indicated. And just a reminder, in our existing budget, we've already articulated there is no price increase coming in the next fiscal year we'd anticipated. So just to put that in perspective, it's not on the list. So what might make it being considered? Well, it's this economic environment we're in. So to double down on that one, it is not being contemplated at any point right now, even during this economic time. It would be one of the last things that would have to be contemplated here for the financial viability of this agency from my perspective as your general manager. So I don't know if there's any further questions on that, but I just want to remind everybody, our current draft budget had nothing in it as well for next year. So, and we will get a communication to Director Gonzalez's comment on this, plus other things that will be coming out probably here in the days ahead, just to hopefully give people peace of mind. So with that, if there are no other questions, I'd like to move on to, heaven forbid, it's actually item 2 on my report. The next one is I'd like to talk about the February ridership.
We don't care about that. That's irrelevant
really
now.
For time's sake, the ridership, although we just finished talking about how much the C-19 have hit us, we actually had a great February. We look back.
Yeah, but it's irrelevant now. Okay, forget that. Just go over it.
February of 19. So I know it gets lost in the challenge that we're in right now, but it was a great month for us. The winter weather was a factor in February, so year-over-year percentage were skewed a bit, but it still was a very good result. And the bus ridership was actually up 8.2%, continuing a positive 11-month trend here in this agency. So when people say the ridership is down, or his trending-wise been down, notwithstanding the challenge that we're in right now, which I hope to be an aberration over time, that in fact we continue with a positive trend in this agency as a base. The weekly max ridership was also up 3.5%, and West ridership was down comparatively a relatively small amount of 1.8%. So in terms of quarterly performance, I'll come to that one shortly, but I'm just going to ask if Ellen Lato can jump in very quickly and give a brief update on the business plan What you have before you is the business plan that we knew that took many, many months and complexities with yours and others' feedback to build. We need to put this in place. It will come forward as the resolution for the budget, but the business plan, we want to present to you what we have. I have asked Alan already to start work on recasting this, knowing the dynamics that we're in.
Look at him.
With the revenues impact.
Everybody gets to go home. All these guys get to go home.
Have to, as an abridged version of this, bring this back to the board.
Yeah, great.
Maybe Alan, if you're available, if you could just comment briefly on this.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Doug. Very briefly, because I know there's lots of other things to get to, and we've talked about the business plan a number of times over the last 6 months, but in your board packet and now on the web is the final version of the business plan for FY21 through 25. And we did get comments between the draft and the final. The biggest addition was a increase in the description of the outreach activities and engagement activities we do with our community to make sure that we're incorporating our understanding of needs and desires of the community and being informed about the needs of our riders and the community as a whole. So you'll see that addition in there around page 10. I can't remember the exact page right now. The only other thing I really wanted to touch on was what Doug was already mentioning, which is we, of course, refer briefly to the COVID-19 issue in the business plan, but it is a 5-year strategic plan, and so it is not fully informed by what is now a very dynamic and evolving situation. So we'll be using this as the basis, the points of emphasis for the year, as well as the long-term strategic priorities, the goals and objectives. We'll be using this as the basis for understanding how we move forward in this new reality.
Okay.
If there are no questions on this, or if there are, we're trying to have them addressed. If not, then I'd like to continue on, President Werner.
Please move on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ellen. And again, you will see in this rapidly changing environment, you will see an abridged version of this once we understand the financial impacts, as they have to go hand in glove, if you will, the strategy with the financial photograph. So stay tuned for both. The last item I have for you today is I'd like to turn it over to Sam DeSue to give we're going to do a very quick update, Sam, just on the quarterly performance and just sort of strategic highlights, if we may. So I'll turn it over to you if I can.
Good morning, President Warner and board directors. We will be presenting to you this morning the 2019 fourth quarter performance report. And Jeff, I don't know if the PowerPoint is ready to be put into place or not.
All of this is irrelevant now, okay?
Yes, let me scroll down to that section.
None of this means anything now. Why are we bothering with it?
2019 fourth quarter performance with the fourth quarter performance of 2018.
All right, we don't care about this because it doesn't matter now. Okay, it's irrelevant.
2019.
All right, let's go.
There are 2 key points of notice. Our rail violations are lowest.
Even thank you to the whole team for, if you look at this over the last number of years, this is really about a culture change.
It doesn't, yeah, you're great. Now, it doesn't matter. Move along.
$1.5 billion.
Oh.
Roughly $607 million for operations, $130 million for capital and operating projects, and $123 million for debt service.
All right.
Council, should I now adjourn as the board and reconvene as the budget committee for TRIMET?
Here we go.
Director Warner, what you want to do is go ahead and have the staff report, to the extent there is one. Once the staff report's completed, then you'll adjourn and convene the budget committee, and then the board can discuss it if they have any questions or anything like that.
And then do we take an approval as the budget committee, or do we
yes, you
reconvene and take action as the board?
You would take action as the budget committee.
Now,
all right, thank you. Well, with that,
Now, it's my bet that every single one of these contracts will be approved. And I covered this. Oh, wow. I just saw lightning. Oh, you hear that? It's thunderstorm here. Wow. End of the world. Now, if anything goes wrong now, of course, we're fucked. Because, I mean, God, hopefully nothing is going to flood out now. Who knows what can happen.
Is there a staff report?
Okay, they're going to approve all of this, and I covered it on the blog. It was like millions and millions and millions of dollars of shit. That should stop, but it won't. Watch.
Report on the submittal approving the proposed fiscal year budget for next year and submission to the Multnomah County TSCC.
Yes, I'll give you a brief one, and Dee may want to comment thereafter or answer what you have. This comes back. This is a highly unusual situation, but it's driven by the last few weeks of the C-19 issue. With all the months that have led into this, this is part of our typical and annual natural budgeting approval process. And as Director Stovall had commented, it's a requirement for us to do this. And also what will be coming up, I think it's April board session or May, I forget the month. We're required to submit this to the Multnomah County Tax Supervising and Conservation Commission, or referred to as TSCC, for a hearing. So there are some legal requirements to proceed as you have it now. But as we all know, there will be a bridge work coming underway targeting for the June board cycle. Again, this is highly unusual, but it is a requirement for us to do so. What you see in here is for fiscal year 21, the proposed budget is $1.5 billion, roughly $607 million for operations, $330 million for capital and operating projects, and $123 million for debt service. The focus of the implementation of the scenario you have now, which will be absolutely subject to review, will be HB 2017's work. It includes to expand the program of the Operation Low Income Fare program, which now, by the way, has about 30,000 participants in total, which is a wonderful success story. Again, to double down, there's no fare increase proposed in this scenario of this fiscal budget you have. And the 8th year in a row that TRIMET's adult fare remains unchanged, which is frankly amazing compared to most other transit agencies in North America. Again, we will be revisiting the whole COVID-19 issue because of the sudden dramatic changes here. So it includes a 3% increase in service, $6.5 million to expand that service.
See, this all should be done.
And focusing also on, which will have
this needs to be changed. It's all useless.
Reliability. So with that, I think I'll just leave it there and answer any questions.
See, they're going to just pass all of this stuff. I knew they would do it.
Dee, is there anything you want to comment on? Dee.
Dee. Wake up!
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
There you
go. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we commented for the record that the proposed budget has been out on our website for 2 weeks and available for public comment, and we have received none today. This would be in anticipation of the...
Yeah, it's been on the website for 2 weeks and we received no comment. I wonder why. Oh, maybe we're worried about other things. How can you pass the budget right now? How can you even entertain the idea of it? This budget is obviously no good. It's no good.
The TSCC public hearing in April. That's all. Thank you.
That's all. Thank you, Dee.
And from the standpoint of process for anybody listening and for the board members, we are going to have other opportunities in the next few months to look at this and make any changes as a result of the coronavirus or other things that we feel are necessary to be ready to enter the new year.
Yes.
I had my hand raised, Bruce.
Please go ahead. I see Lori Bellman also has her hand raised. So Keith, go ahead.
I had raised about 4 issues prior to our executive session meeting, and I presuming that there is some flexibility in the budget to address those issues and take care of those issues at a future date.
Let me see what.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, we're getting close.
Director Bauman?
We have to do this in pieces.
A couple of questions for Doug and for Dee. Looking at I guess I'm asking these questions on the understanding that, of course, a great many changes are going to be coming given current circumstances. And so please understand that I know that those changes are in the offing. On page 3 of the overview and then page 17 under transportation, talk about the Lyft paratransit service. And it looks like we're, Lyft, even before the current crisis, the ridership had been dropping for a couple of reasons that we understand and maybe other reasons that we don't understand. And it looks to me like the budgeted sums for paratransit are continuing about the same. And what was their thinking around, and the fact that ridership has been dropping there isn't reflected in the narrative. I guess I'd like to hear thinking around, are we going to continue to look ways to reinvigorate that ridership, or, kind of what's the perspective from a budget point of view on paratransit?
We are continuing to monitor the ridership. It's straight line across the budget based on the contract. So what we will do is adjust for any changes in ridership or changes in costs that we come across over the next few weeks.
Jesus, thunderstorm. What?
Is that responsive to your question, Director Bauman?
Right. Well, my sense is that the budget numbers are pretty stable, and I understand that will change. It's likely to change as we go forward, but these sort of built-in kind of ongoing decreases to Lyft ridership, am I correct in understanding that they're not impacting the budget right now, that the budget is continuing as is, assuming kind of level ridership for paratransit?
I think that's right, Director Bauman. We're also looking to manage seeing what changes in service we can make, including excuse me, how the fleet gets deployed, and hopefully that will increase more effectiveness. So you're seeing some vans out there rather than very large empty vehicles around. So we think that's actually going to enhance the service experience. That will actually help stabilize some of the ridership.
Right. I do think once we're past the current crisis and things are back to normal, I think that we do need to continue to take a hard look at paratransit and understand the changes that are happening there and how we can adapt to it. I had a second question, and that's on page 12 of the overview, refers to the diesel fuel, in the right column refers to diesel fuel assumptions. And first off, I'll say we know there's a price war going on in petroleum products, so that the actual numbers are bound to be different. But have you taken into account the cost of renewable diesel in thinking about diesel fuel costs going forward?
You have, and go ahead, Doug. Well, I was going to say that we do have that. We factored in a number of things. We do, initially, the budget numbers you see do have the R99, the reduced the fuel improvement. But what we've done is requested from the contractor that we extend the contract so that we can wait 6 months to a year to pull down the R99 fuel so that we can experience the lower cost. Right now, you're correct. The market, it does indicate there's a tremendous savings in the diesel fuel, and currently we're paying $1.35 per gallon. We always budget based on past experience as well, and also allowing for some expectation of fluctuations in price. But this is one that we will, of course, be taking a hard look at before we finalize the budget for adoption.
Great, thank you. I guess I also want to say thank you to everyone on the staff who works on the budget. This is a huge project, and I know a lot of rejiggering is going to be taking place over the near term. So thank you for all you do. And that's all I have.
No
question. Director Way, I see your hand is up.
Director Way.
Yes, thank you. I just had a couple questions around the safety and security item, or the division, safety and security. I'm looking at the administration department, it's SS2. I have the big binder in front of me, so that's what I'm referencing on. But
City.
I'm just curious as to
Trillions of dollars pumped in, and there goes the rally.
What exactly is the Department of Homeland Security grant application and reporting? Is that a new grant that we're getting, or is that a multi-year effort? I would like to know what that means.
Is that to you or Dee?
I'm not sure what that is. I think, do you have any thoughts on that, or I'm not sure if Marlo's on the line?
Well, we routinely receive money from the Homeland Security for various grants for safety matters.
Yeah, for the police state. Safety matters. They get grants for the police state.
So the performance measure, one of the performance measures that was noted by the Safety and Security Division was that we would ensure Department of Homeland Security grants compliance. And that's a standard routine entry. Aside from that, I'd have to look deeper into the details to tell you exactly what those were for. If Marla's on the line, maybe she can.
That would be helpful. And if you have more information later, we could discuss that. But I mean, the way that just in this just current climate, right, with immigration and raids and things like that, sometimes for certain communities that can just signal negative emotions and fear. And so I just wanted to ask, what are the types of services that maybe we're getting from Homeland Security? And it definitely sounds important, so I don't want to downplay that. But I'm just curious as to what are the details of that grant and what is it that they're seeking TRIMET to provide?
Yeah, that is a good point. You could elaborate on the grants. I know that some of them are for enhancements such as grade crossing improvements and things like that. They're very technical in nature, nothing related to additional staff for Homeland Security.
I think the assurance I can give you, Director Way, firstly, one, we will get back to you with details of the program to your satisfaction. The second thing is, what I can tell you is, it has nothing to do with anything around focusing on ICE or immigration limitations or fear or such like that, because that would be not acceptable. So I can give you great confidence in that piece, but let us get back to the rest of the details, whether that be to the kinds of programs of safety upgrades, particularly around rail crossings sometimes, things like that. So we'll get back to you.
Great, thank you. And then the second question that I have around safety and security is whether or not we're including some of those positions that we had discussed around, rider advocates and those positions, really providing for on-the-ground resources for riders, so not fare enforcers, but these rider advocate positions that we've been talking about as also a need in certain communities. Do we have those positions that are included in this budget?
We do. They're not a specific category. We're really still exploring if we're actually going to do this. Rider advocates have my own experience. They can be beneficial, but they can also be libelous and have big challenges that come with those, particularly when things go wrong. So we have to be unintentionally. So there's not a specific item on it. It would be under the total of safety and security, whether it be under the general budget of how we allocate hours out around G4S, policing, things of that nature. So it'd be in the broader pool should we proceed to pilot that. And I have, along that line, have had discussions, Bernie and I did actually, with Councillor Hardesty over the city of Portland on some of those kind of discussions. But there's not a specific line out that we would manage that in our pool of allocated dollars, should we proceed.
I'm hearing that there are some discussions underway in terms of how that could look like moving forward.
Yeah, we're exploring it. We have not made a commitment to actually do that, but I think we want to consider this very, very carefully. As I think we're in the exploratory discussion stage.
Okay. I can also see that some of those roles or positions, living under the our equity department or community engagement, as some of those roles, again, in my opinion, I think may have heard some TIAC members express this too, might be worth exploring. To again provide either language support or just resources to community members who may need assistance.
Right. Moving on, I see Director Simmons, you have your hand up.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
This was really more in response to Kathy's comment about rider advocates. I serve on the TRIMET Safety and Security Committee, and we've actually encouraged TRIMET to look at customer service positions and not advocate, because we think advocate implies certain things. And so we've actually been toying with different names for a position that might unfold in the future that would be more like a rider support type role. So I just wanted to clarify that for Kathy, since I serve on that committee.
Thank you. And those are all really great names as well.
Well, why are they talking about
convey
that?
what I was trying to say. So thank you, Linda.
All right. I don't see other board members' hands up. Have you had your questions asked on the budget and this issue? And if so, I'm ready to adjourn as the board of directors for TRIMET and reconvene as the budget committee, unless there's objections. Hearing none, then I'm going to adjourn the TRIMET board of directors and reconvene as the budget committee for the Tri-County Metropolitan Service District for Transportation. So based on what we've learned.
Okay, that's enough for now. I'll get back to part 2, but let's see what I got here. Yeah, that's an hour right there. So let me upload this. And so far it's been, there's nothing there. There's no information there, but basically they're just going about business as usual. You can see, which is amazing, but not really, because, I already knew this was going to be what happened, but now at least I know it for sure.